Hey, it's like 5 in the morning here. Good morning, human family. So, I need to offer an explanation on my channel, I feel. My intention for creating YouTube videos were to do like slow TV channel videos, and the idea behind that is kind of it's the counter philosophy of maybe some trends that we see, right? With attention and, fast paced things and everything's going on and all this stuff. Um, shorter attention spans, whatever. And I wanted to play with the idea of slow TV because I was working third shift years ago, many years ago, and I was like by myself. It was like the middle of the night. I'm by myself. It's totally dark. I didn't adjust well. I'm actually pretty sensitive to environmental things, and so it was kind of hard on me. Um, and I found things that I loved that helped me like maintain my sanity. I One of the things was like slow TV channels. It was very soothing. Some of which were just like slow TV of like a train ride or something. And there's no like music, there's nothing else going on. You're just like watching this thing. Sometimes there's artists that are like knitting or they're making a thing. And so, yeah, these are for the people that are maybe you're suffering health issues and maybe you're like bedridden or something and you're just like, I'm bored or whatever. And you want to have like some kind of other thing that's not just like in your face and like so like uh high energy or like whatever. It's just calm and it's life, so um that's the idea behind slow TV. So why am I posting these 1 minute shorts of like dancing and all this stuff? So I moved. I'm renovating my outdoor space, my studio, my painting studio this summer, and so everything's cleared out and I'm not really painting a lot. I have like a painting area, but it's really not that great. So it's not something I want to maybe record. Um, anyway, the the dancing. Let's talk about the dancing. So I love dancing. I've been dancing for like my whole life. I love it so much. I'm a very like physically active person. I like a lot of movement in my day. I think some people even maybe describe me as like hyperactive. I don't know. But I feel vital and in like enthusiastic, filled with joy often. So it makes me very happy to incorporate a lot of movement and joy throughout my day. So I dance. I dance a lot. I would consider myself an ecstatic dancer. That if you're not familiar with the concepts of ecstatic dance, I'll probably talk about that later. Uh, but I use ecstatic dance for journeying work, which is pretty fantastic. Um, I don't have videos of that. I don't. My rabbit is going insane right now. He's so happy. So he's doing binkies around the living room. Most of my animals will show up in my videos. My rabbit loves when I dance, which is really funny because rabbits are sensitive to a lot of sound and vibrations on the ground, and they're ground dwellers. And I like being a ground dweller, like sitting on the ground. I don't have a dining room table. I actually just like eat like just sitting or whatever. I haven't had one for like my entire adult life, which is kind of funny. Anyway, ground dwellers. So yeah, my rabbit is very sensitive, and he loves every night that I come in to my space, and I actually sleep in the living room. So you'll probably have seen my bed in some of the videos. So, uh, yeah, I like being in the living room though. My rabbit's right next to my space, and my animals are free to come and go, and they like to wake me up in the morning too. So anyway, the the fact that he will come into the living room and lay down and wait for me to get set up and dance, and he just loves it, and he loves when I pet him and interact with him. So in some of the dance videos you'll probably see that. At night, I'm generally doing something kind of calm. I do like natural form qigong, which is something that I found late 20 years ago out in California. I was just kind of playing around and fell into it. I was like, ooh, this feels really great. I'll talk a little bit about that actually, and the differences between like maybe formal or traditional qigong and natural flow qigong, because both of which are very important, I think. So I practice both of them. I love them both equally. Um, so why the shorts, right? Why the shorts on a slow TV channel? Again, like I don't have the studio space, so I'm not really recording those. Uh, I dance a lot, and the videos are usually music that's like copyrighted, and YouTube has a thing, you can't like just post the whole thing. So sometimes I do like different parts of a song, and then I'll just like upload the whole thing. When I dance, I'm generally like spending an hour or two dancing, and so I have like just a blip of a recording, and I'm usually like sweating and slightly out of breath. It's great cardio work, and it's good for the mind. Um, so there's explorations I do in dancing that I want to talk about. One of them are like sketches. I'm gonna say this, like it's like a sketchbook. So I'm like feeling into a groove or an idea, and I'm just like playing. I'm just having a nice time and seeing where it goes. And I think that those are important because sometimes I lose the beat. I get up in my head. What happens is I get up in my head and I'll lose the beat. And then I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm not like intuitively moving at that point. And sometimes I start laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I at? And I think that's important to show because people that are uploading videos of like these really great choreography and like professional looking dancing and all that stuff, that's not always the case. To get to that point, you have to actually like just play and move and make mistakes or whatever. And I think that that's like just part of the process. And so I like showing that process. I like just being like, yeah, sometimes you just feel into something and you get up in your head and you make them like you're doing weird things. Um, and that's okay. I like the raw form of like what it takes to like make a thing. And so those are on there. This is Toranaga, uh, my rabbit. Um, you can't go wrong with this, by the way. It's like literally playing a wind chime. So if you don't have one of these, they're really nice. If you're not musically inclined, you can just like doodle on it. It's great. Um, anyway, so dance. There's the sketches. There's like I'm playing around. I like all music, all the styles. It's very eclectic. I am a very eclectic person. I enjoy the cornucopia of like what is on earth. I'm so excited about it and so filled with love an appreciation for all of the arts, all of the expression. They just feel so good to me. Um, there are outfits that I wear, right? So like a lot of times I'm embodying a feeling, or I'm kind of invoking colors or different styles. And so I just like dig through my wardrobe and I put those outfits on. They're not meant to be costumey. Like, so I want to be clear about that. I do actually like wear these clothings like in my everyday life. And so like the salwar kameez, they are from Pakistan. And I do like Southeast Asian like salwar kameez, and I've worn them for like a very long time. They're beautiful, they're comfortable, they're made of like cotton and linen. They don't pinch my legs when I sit, and I'm a floor dweller, so when I sit a lot, I don't like jeans, like pinching all the stuff, and it's like super uncomfortable. I like being comfortable and feeling very feminine and beautiful, and so salwar kameez are like my favorite outfits. Um, and I often will wear those doing like natural form qigong, because I can get like a lot of movement from them, and I just feel really good in them, in those outfits. So I have quite a few of them. So if you're wondering, no, those are not costumey things. Those are like actual pieces of clothing that I wear. Um, and they are like meant to be like everyday outfits. And yeah, I'll wear a more formal salwar kameez when I'm doing stuff that's like special to me, like a prayer song that I'm really like feeling into, and working with natural form qigong. It's part of my spirit, so offering prayer for like myself, my community, the world around me, and fellow humans, and Mother Earth, and like just all of the things, right? So I like wearing those formal ones because they are gorgeous to me, and yeah, so that's that. Not costumey, genuinely, like that's like how I dress. Um, okay, embodiment dancing. What is embodiment dancing? So embodiment dancing is different than like journey dancing, journey work, ecstatic dancing. I'll talk about another time. It's like a whole thing. Embodiment dancing is really fascinating. So, where do I start? Okay, there's a video where I have like, it's metal. It's actually the Dragonaut, and it's really great. It's a great song. I was working on like some root chakra work and thinking about dragon energy. And the idea is that I'm like doing some studying. I'm studying the root chakra. I'm studying dragon energy. I'm participating in events or spaces that facilitate those kind of connections. And expressing that through dance is really, really great. Embodying that, those ideas or philosophies, and feeling them in the body. Um, what's interesting is I don't always land into that space immediately. I will often have to search for it, and so I'm dancing, and I'm like, I look at it and I feel it, and I'm like, this isn't quite there yet. It's not quite the embodiment of a dragon. Like, what am I missing, and why? And so diving into that's fascinating, because I'm noticing within myself too, like, is there a block? Is there something that I'm trying to like get past in order to access that that feeling, or meditation? I'll call it a meditation. Sometimes the block could be just like in my physical body, of like, oh, I don't want to move in that way because maybe it feels weird, or maybe it, you know, it's not, um, it's not something I traditionally do, or something like that. Recently, I've uploaded videos for Maeve. Maeve is a warrior goddess. She she's known for being like very promiscuous, which I think is hilarious. and she's she's like revered. She's revered. She's a badass. And very obviously very feminine. She's got, I think, a very balanced, like divine masculine, divine feminine kind of qualities. And she's like, you know, encompassing sovereignty and like, I'm gonna wage war, and like she's tactical and like all of these really awesome things. And I'm like, how do I dance to this? How do I express something that's like powerful, that's like filled with desire and passion, that has the capabilities of like instilling like a little bit of like fear, maybe like, yeah, like don't fuck with me kind of energy. That's very much Maeve. So it took me a lot of tries actually to like really tap into that. The first videos I did were like, I watched them and like my body was like very constrained. And I was like, that's not Maeve. Maeve is nothing like that. Like she is like unbridled passion. She is she's in her natural form. Like she does not give a fuck. And so moving into that space and being like, why am I having trouble like fully just like big movements and like feeling into that? And there were blocks there. There were actual like events in my life that said you shouldn't be seen this way, or you shouldn't express yourself that way, or you should have fear of expressing sexuality or desire or something like that. Fear that something bad might happen if people are desiring you. And so that those are things that I was like carrying in me, in my journey, in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, so I was moving through stuff as I was embodying these concepts of Maeve, the goddess. And like there was one part where like I'm hungry in the morning, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat this apple. And I was like, ooh, the apple. Like, yeah, I should use that symbolically. And so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna eat this apple seductively. The first, if you notice in the video that I posted, the apple's like gone because there were a lot of takes on like eating this apple and being like seductive with it. Like, how do you do that? I looked like a goat. I looked like I was just like, like noshing this apple and like whatever. And it just like didn't convey this feeling of like hunger, desire, tasting sweet fruit. Like it just didn't have that. And so I had to work on that, and that was a lot of fun. And the video is posted as like 18 and up, and I'm like, why? So maybe I got that sensuality conveyed, so that was fun. Was it easy? Not really, honestly, because I'm yeah. Had a lot of fun with that. So I encourage you, dancers, if you're like, if you're in a lull, if you're feeling uninspired, like look around you, do some reading, find something in culture, in history, in something of an individual or a collective conscious like archetype, and try to play with that archetype. You could probably use Tarot Deck. Tarot Deck has a lot of great archetypes to lean into. That's actually kind of a fun idea. Anyway, so that's like embodiment. That's like feeling into it and trying to express it, and then like noticing in my body and in my psyche, like where I have something restrained, something that's saying like, this isn't for you, you shouldn't do this, or so playing with that. And afterwards, when I was done, I felt areas that were filled with fear and reluctance or anger. I had a fuck ton of anger, actually. There was some anger there of like, this is my fucking body. I can move it how I want, and I can express it how I want. So we're not just running through the house. Anyhow, so there was some anger there, once I did all of that dancing, and I'm talking hours, y'all, like I really worked on this for hours. And once I got done, I felt those areas were filled with exuberance. It was legit exuberance. It was like a freeing. It was very freeing. So I highly recommend like playing in that if you're a dancer and you're like, I don't really know what I want to do. Um, I'm not against like the trends of choreography that's happening. I do think I don't know if you maybe have seen the movie Ants. It kind of reminds me of when they go to the dance club and everybody's doing the same dance, and the guy's like, "Why are we all dancing the same? This is weird." Um, and he like breaks out and does his own thing. Maybe I should rewatch that. I don't remember it so well, but it kind of reminds me of that feeling of like I am my own body, and nobody can actually express the same thing in exactly the same way, even if you are given the same choreography. Um, the body's very connected with the mind and the spirit and personal experiences and all of those things, and those come out in expression. So I'm very much like I like when people just have like their own expression and they really dig into that. So yeah, there's prayer form, there's natural form qigong, um, yeah, embodiment and sketches, and just like general like playing around. So that's basically it. Those are the shorts. Those are like why I'm doing the dancing. Um, and yeah, I'll start to do some long form videos. I want to talk about my instruments. Like all last night, I couldn't sleep because I really want to do a video of the instruments that I've made. I love them. Am I a luthier? No. But they're simple instruments and they're for meditation purposes, and I love them. So I think I want to do something about those. Oh, um, something that I meditated on for like the entirety of the year. The term ma. It's a space in between the stuff. The space in between your speaking and delivery of ideas. The space in between the notes that provide percussion and rhythm and beats, right? They don't provide percussion. The beats and the rhythm, right? The space in between allows for something to be conveyed and sunk in a little bit. Not everything needs to be filled. Like not every space needs to be filled with something. So it's an important art concept, but it's also an important business concept. If you're like delivering a presentation, it's really good to add pause. You are allowing for ideas to sink in, and in many cultures, adding that pause, it actually conveys a sense of intelligence because you're giving thought prior to what you're speaking. Do I always act that way? No, because I'm overly excited about a lot of things and I ramble and I'm like, like, so I'm practicing that. I'm practicing that in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'll let that sink in. Okay. Natural form Qigong and traditional Qigong. What are those? What do those mean? Okay. So in I here's how I refer to them. This may or may not be correct. This may or may not vibe with you. I'm okay with that. I tend to look at things like this is a masculine expression, like divine masculine, or this is a like divine feminine expression. So what does that mean? Like divine masculine has like kind of a structure, it's ordered, it's somewhat predictable. It's there's nothing wrong with it, right? Okay? Like just so I'm saying. But having a balance of those in everyday life, your personal balance. You're not seeking it from an individual. You're not like, "Oh, my partner is divine masculine. My partner is divine feminine, so therefore I have a balance." No, no, no. Like it is a personal balance. Like your like having both of those are really great. Like so if that's something that you need to like sit with and meditate with, I highly recommend that. Okay, so traditional or divine masculine qigong has sort of, it's a structure, right, where maybe the movements are very symmetrical, right? So you do 3 on one side, you're doing 3 on the other. Your breath is very formulated, so it's like I'm breathing in on these, I'm breathing out on this. I'm breathing in on these, I'm breathing out on this, or whatever it is. It has a very nice order and a structure and a purpose. There's a reason for that, and which is really great. So natural form qigong, what it does is it kind of removes the structure. It removes the idea that you have to have like a symmetrical form too. So when viewing my like natural form qigong, often I'm wearing salwar kameez. They're very comfortable. I can move and I feel beautiful and I feel really good wearing them. So if you're looking for those videos, generally that's the outfit I wear, unless I'm going to bed and then I'm like in my pajamas or whatever. So the idea with natural form is that it still has the intention of the breath, the mind, body, spirit connection, and the breath facilitating that, and the movements, right? So what are we doing with qi? What are we doing with the energy around us? We are using it to cleanse and move out things that you know aren't just like part of our natural pattern. We cleanse with it, we cultivate it, we bring in all the good stuff. We're meditating with it and we're bringing in all the good stuff and like putting it back into our body and into our etheric field, into the field of our existence, right? We're using it to heal, to move through things. So both forms have that as a focus. That is part of both of them. In my natural form qigong, it's very intuitive. So I'm literally just moving and I'll call in my forms of different qigong styles or practices. And what I do, like you'll see there's a repetition. You'll see like patterns in like how I move. I have a version of marrow washing, and I don't remember how I found it. It was like in my 20s, but it feels right for me. It feels really good. And so I do marrow washing in my way. And it's generally, I call it something else, and I'm not going to say what I call it because it's silly, but I'm kind of like flowing over and through my limbs, and like really just like feeling into um gathering energy, cleansing the energy, and kind of like activating those limbs. And when I have that kind of attention onto my limbs and I move into a dance, it generally goes really well. And so I've always found that like that's like one of my favorite go-to like first things. So if you catch that in like a video, then it's typically like I'm just starting out my practice, because I typically will I use it in ecstatic dance. So I use natural form qigong in ecstatic dance. I do a lot of crane. Um, I do a lot of horse dance, like washing body, um, butterfly, butterfly, and like maybe the buffalo. Those are like my favorites. And uh, arrow, pulling the arrow, releasing the face, those sorts of things. I do different versions though. So like I have the concept in my mind of like, this is what I've been taught, what the pulling of the arrow is, right? So you're crossing your hands and you pull the arrow. That might show up in natural form qigong in this slightly different way. Okay, so like maybe I'm playing with the rhythm, maybe I'm playing with my breath, maybe I'm playing with the movement in a different way. I'm still achieving that like open chest and like activating those pressure points, I guess, and like releasing those, and like looking, or whatever. So you'll kind of see like, oh, that's reminiscent of this thing that I've seen or I've been taught, and maybe it looks a little different because again, it's intuitive. So what I'm doing is I'm feeling into my body and I'm asking it like, what do you want? And so there's some movements where I'm like, oh, like this feels like so good on the right side. Like it feels like really good, because I draw and I'm like, oh, my arm is stiff or like whatever. And this side like becomes more like damaged. It's like it hurts. Or like it's like really stiff or whatever. And this side's like, hey, I'm great. Like I'm not suffering. I feel really great. So if you see in natural form qigong, I might be doing like a little bit more on this side and then like a little bit on this side. That's intuitive to me. That feels like I don't need as much going on here. It doesn't have to be balanced for me. Balance is really just feeling into my body and creating the equilibrium of of peace along the whole thing, right? That just like line of like, okay, my body's at peace. This is already close to peace. This I need to do a little bit more here, right? So those are some of the concepts that I'm playing with. So if you're like, this doesn't look like qigong because it's like this, and it needs to be structured and it has to have, a pattern, and we're doing 3 on this side and 3 on this side, and like that's how it's done. Yeah, I do follow those. I do those. I'm not going to post a video on that because they're already out there. What I'm demonstrating though is kind of like natural form qigong and like with dance, right? So like with some movement that is set to music that I'm really digging, and that might kind of help express a meditation. So I have like different meditations that I'll do it in like an intention or prayer. So it is very much a spiritual practice. And it feels really good. So that's the natural form qigong. Those are my kind of philosophies around it. I could probably talk about it for the rest of my life, because it just like continues to evolve. The more my practice is, the more I evolve, my practice evolves, and it's one of my favorite things. So again, I found that like 20 years ago, it was just like, the energy around me, and I can like feel it and like interact with it, and it's like, it feels amazing. And there's times where like, and it's at a dance where I pull in some like qigong things, and then I'm like really, I go into like journey work with it, and yeah, the intention behind that is not always set, and it's just sort of like stuff happens, and it's really amazing. So yeah, that it's fun to incorporate into other areas, right? And knowing and being comfortable with the divine feminine aspect of qigong and like natural form is really a great thing. So like if you haven't dove into that concept, I highly recommend it because you can apply it to like different things that could very well help you move through some stuff. So yeah, those are the shorts. Those are like why I'm doing that. And I think today I'll probably talk about some of the instruments that I've made in a separate video. I think that covers it. I think that covers like dance. I think it covers my philosophy around like why I'm doing certain things. It looks very eclectic. I am actually eclectic. I'm all over the place. I love everything immensely. And so, yeah, yeah. My world is varied and definitely not boring. Play, y'all. Just have fun and play. I don't think we put enough emphasis, like in in our in our world, in our whole earth, in our world. I don't think that we're given the space or the like the affirmation, like just play. You're okay. Like just play. Like, you don't have to be amazing at the stuff. I don't have to be amazing at playing an instrument. I don't have to be amazing at dancing. You don't either. You could just play and just like see where it goes. There's a lot of benefit of play. There's a ton of benefit of play. Somebody recently in a community like forum had posted a really beautiful video about the importance of play. When you're in play, you actually are able to learn better. Like if something's structured and like formulated and you're like, I have to learn this thing, um, it kind of creates like a dissonance or like a little bit of a stress. So like learning in an environment that comes from joy or play or like silliness or just like, okay, I'm just exploring this thing, that's intuitive, that's innate to our existence, I feel. And learning in that way is like gentler, and it feels really nice. So yeah, there's a lot to be learned from like play and creativity and just like incorporating that and giving yourself permission to be silly. Give yourself permission to look silly. I'm okay with that. Like I'm okay with like looking silly because I feel like there's a level of self-confidence that I have in my experiences and different things that I engage in. And there's some things that I know like I'm really good at because I've done it for a million years, and like, you know, like my job or something like that. And I feel really good in those areas, but I don't stay in those areas of my comfort zone. I try to like branch out and see what else is out there, right? So that's what I'm going to end with. I'm going to end with like post your silly videos, post your things that are sketches, post your creative processes. Many of my dances I've also like written about, and they're in my website. So like on my newsletter or blog, I will talk about like my dances. Some of them have prose. Yeah. Some of my dances are diving into a feeling, and maybe I'm not feeling that thing particularly like for myself, but maybe I notice it around me, or maybe I'm like going back in time and like what was this feeling, and why did I dance to this song so much? Why did I listen to that song, 10 years ago so often, and like how can I express it in dance? And so sometimes I'm going back in time and also like feeling like what what did that feel like in dancing that out. So that's another form of dance that I do, is just like digging. I call it digging into a feeling. And um I do that with painting. I do that with like drawing. It's like, what does this thing feel like? What would that look like if I put it in a painting? And it may not be like an encompassing feeling of like what I have for the day, right? So like I'm not overwhelmed with these. They're ephemeral. Feelings are ephemeral. They come and go. It's like, the weather, right? So, um yeah, but you can feel them intensely. Like that's okay. So yeah, if I've got those intense feelings and I want to express them, or maybe I don't have that feeling in the moment, but I do want to like just kind of go back and see what that feels like. I think also diving into diving into a feeling and expressing it creates a lot of empathy. So if you know somebody and you're like, God, they're going through a thing, and they're expressing how they feel, and you have empathy for them, and you're like, I wanna like dance this out. I wanna see like um empath- empathy. I'm a very empathetic person, so I like doing anyway. Um okay, that's it. That is the explanation of why the shorts on his slow TV channel. Why the dance. Yeah. Have fun, be creative, be loving.